Hey, good morning. It is July 12th, and I don't know why I say the year 2025, but I do. I think it is Saturday, albeit I think it was Thursday, was Sunday for me. Was it? No. I woke up and it was Sunday, and I operated as Sunday for, I want to say, probably 5 or 6 hours. Um, Shortly before lunch, which is 11 a.m., as you all know, um, I realized it was not Sunday. Okay, so let's get to stuff that I know. And I know it because it's God's word and it's truth. That's why I know it. All right, so everything good begins with God. You're starting your weekend off. You're not working or you are working. I just talked to my eldest and he's at work. And his wife is sending pictures of Asher, videos, I should say, of Asher as well. So that's a good start for my Saturday in the flesh. But a good start spiritually would be waking up, giving thanks, glory, honor, and praise, saying your prayer, doing a little studying. And today we're gonna just do a verse. And Bijou's coming in right now. She literally knows it's Bible study time. She was coming in a couple hours ago, and I kind of complained like, "Dog, what are you doing?" And I realized she's waiting for everyone else to come in the room. So there's Bijou. She's being religious, right? She's been taught this. All right. So on a side note, I'm going to do the second part of the nature, the two natures of a believer, and just the nature of man, just nature, I should call it, right? But it's getting pretty extensive, so but I'll do it soon. All right, so we're going to go to the book of Matthew. Mel's been waiting. Book of Matthew, and we're going to do chapter 23. It's a super. It's a verse that verse 27. It's a verse that how do I say it? It manifests itself to me probably almost daily because it's a huge web. It connects to everything. And we'll talk about a couple of woes before we get to 27, but you're more than welcome to read it. But um, not to give too much context here, but we have a woe in verse 23. We have some in 14 and 15 and so forth. But I'm going to pick up in 23 because if not, be woeing all morning, right? All right. So he talks about in verse 23, he is Jesus Christ, and he's talking to the scribes, the Pharisees, and we need to understand these are the religious leaders. These are the people entrusted with God's people. These are supposed to be the ones that are teaching the law, which is the commandments, which we're going to go to in a video I'm going to do after this. So that's who he's talking to. He's not just talking to everyday people. I was about to say he's not talking to those in unbelief, but technically they probably are. He's talking to people that you would think or being scriptural or being biblical or religious or holy or living without sin. You would think that that's the image. Okay, so that's very important here. So in verse 23, he talks to them about paying tithes, right? So this is a show of the flesh, and that comes back to the nature that we're talking about in our videos. But he's talking about paying tithes, and he gives three areas, right? And the areas themselves are not as important as that they're physical in nature. But not just that, it's something that people can see, right? They can see that. Like they can see the car you drive, the size of your house. These are physical, tangible things you can see. It's almost wealth. It's almost like, look what I gave, right? Um, but what does he say after that? He says, and have omitted the weightier. So weightier to God, that would mean more volume? Absolutely not. It'd mean more profitable, more important, that which you should be doing. We talk about our reasonable service, right? So you omitted, you left out the weightier matters of what? The law, judgment, mercy, and faith. So these are very important things that they're leaving out, okay? Let's go back, let's go to another woe, which gets a closer to the perspective, maybe more clear to what I think is super clear in 27. But verse 25 gives you a look into verse 27. He says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites." So again, these are the leadership. It's almost like someone teaching you something in school or at work, and they're hypocritical, right? That's exactly what he's saying. You're persons of authority, persons of education, of edification, whatever, but you're hypocrites, right? So there's truth that's missing. For ye, no, I'm sorry, I skipped. For ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter. So I'm going to stop here. What do you see if someone gives you a cup or a platter? You're going to see the outside, right? So if it's a awesome cup, you're almost giving them credit, right? It's a great cup. They're so wealthy. It's a gold cup. We're looking at the outside, right? It's a physical part of the cup, right? Um, and of the platter. But within, they're full of extortion and excess. So you see what we're working here, right? The outside, not the inside. He's saying you are hypocrites because you focus on the outside. You focus on what people can see, and not so much the substance, the truth, right? And then again, this is the verse that I love, and I lean on a lot. Verse 27, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness." There's so much depth to this. Just again, I've talked about it before, but just picture a grave. Everyone wants a beautiful headstone for their loved one if they put them in the ground. They pressure wash it once a year. They bleach it. They put flowers out there. It is, but still, it's a whited sepulcher, right? It's clean. It looks good. It even pays homage. Some way, it may even be a competition to other people because this sepulcher, this tombstone, is so much better than the other one, or nicer. These people have money. Look at this thing, right? So it could be all that stuff. But what he's teaching here is, but what is it on the inside? Inside that sepulcher, inside that tombstone, below that tombstone, if it's in the ground, what is in there? And you may not like to hear this, but it's full of dead bones. Dead bones don't serve any need for God. The dead bones do nothing. There are nothing, right? So make sure you understand what happens here. So that outward image that we're projecting, and we're going to church once a week, and we're checking that box once a week for my entire life. I'm wearing a suit. I'm not cussing. I'm reciting prayers. I'm doing all this. If there's not a true belief inside, then that's a whited sepulcher. And I'll tell you this too: if you're talking scripture, if you're saying, "Hey, I set my affections above," but yet you're participating in this world, then that's a whited sepulcher. It absolutely is. So it's not just for those in unbelief, is my point. It's for those that are in belief too in our walk. Um, I told Melly this is something I heard when I got exposed to truth. This part was not truth, though. I heard it and I subscribed to it for a long while. Is that we're all hypocrites, and we have to stop saying that, because it really, what that means is it gives us an excuse to be a hypocrite. It's okay. No, it's not okay. If it was okay, we wouldn't have woe and hypocrites right here. It's not okay. We should try not to be hypocrites. And how we try not is the yet not I, putting ourselves aside, being led by the Spirit, knowing a verse, but then actually really getting knowledge of the verse, reckoning that verse, right? So that's where I want to go. Um, there's something that's likened to this. It's in Exodus, Exodus chapter 4. It's similar to this. It's where Moses is kind of telling God, I'm not the right guy for this job, right? And there's some things that happen. But since we're here, on my page to the left is Exodus 3. And I don't always, I do stop here and read this if I'm near it. And that would be Exodus 3 and 14. It's the great I ams. If you didn't watch the Genesis stuff, this is super powerful. I am. and we'll take a moment to talk about that because we're Troy, right? Um, I am, God doesn't need a description. We learn that in Genesis 1:1. Fourth word in the Bible is God, and he's just I am. He always was and always will be. But also, I am. I don't need to be a dad. I don't need to be this. I don't need to be a financial advisor. I don't need to be. I am. He's all encompassing. All encompassing. He is I am. So stop there. All right, that's not why I came here, but I had to mention it. Um, we're not going to go through this, but I would just say I liken what we just read in Matthew to Exodus chapter 4 and verse 6. I'm not going to read it at all, but if you go through that and get an understanding, I would also tell you go back to chapter 4 and verse 1, because this is when Moses, in his humble nature, is coming on the scene. He even goes to talk about, hey, I I don't have good speech. I'm not the guy for this job. Why are they going to believe me? And this is a good faith thing too, because you'll see Moses is faithful through this. You'll see how something turns into a serpent, and Moses does the right thing. He runs, but then he's told immediately after to pick it up, and he picks it up. That's faith. That's believing what God says and doing it. Right. That's obedience. So, anyhow, that's the verse for the day, and which was more than one. So, grace, peace, and love.